Nolan, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, what's up, Ty? How's it going?
Good. You look like you're in a jungle there with that tree behind you. What's going on
Yeah,
with that? Way to spruce up your is that your downstairs?
yeah, this is the basement. I think I'm sitting in the same spot as last time.
Oh, are you? Nice. I
Yeah.
like the tree. This is good. Well, man, I can't believe it's been 10 months since you and I spoke. I remember that the time I put the episode out, I got so many messages and pings from people saying, dude, you got to get Nolan back on. Like that was one of the best interviews I've ever done. 10 months later, you're finally on. Probably your fault more than mine, though.
Yeah, I would say definitely my fault. It's kind of hard to track me down sometimes, and then I don't follow through sometimes on some of these card podcasts. So it is nice to be back on though and talk about the hobby again.
Well, thanks for jumping on. Let's start with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you and I are both diehard KC fans. I mean, is he going to win MVP and is Kansas City going to win Super Bowl?
I think he'll probably win MVP, but I don't think the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl this year.
Really? Who's your pick right now?
Um, Honestly, there's a lot of teams that are up there right now, but I think the Chiefs will probably fall short. They'll probably make it to the conference championship, which
Okay.
which is another good season, but it's tough to go, you know, all the way.
Yeah.
There's some teams that have come around like the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl or even the conference championship, but they've had a good start.
Yeah.
Who do you think?
Um, I like Buffalo. If Josh Allen's healthy, I really like Buffalo.
Yeah, I want to say Bucks and Packers, but it looks
There.
really bad. I just have a lot of Brady and Rodgers cards, so that's why I'm saying that. But it's not really probably going to happen.
Isn't it sad? It's kind of like fantasy football, right? I've invested. I've put a lot of money into guys that I like a lot, like Aaron Rodgers, and
Yeah,
I'm rooting for the Packers solely because of that reason.
yeah.
Yeah. I think Chiefs are going to be all right, though. I think Chiefs are going to be all right. It's fun work. It's very fun rooting for Patrick Mahomes as a homer. Something special about that.
They'll be 12-5 or 13-4, and they'll probably get like the 2 seed or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a great season. You're right. You're right. Are you a lot of times in the hobby, it's like, what's the rookie class doing? And that dictates how good products are doing. Do you feel like because the rookie class has been so bad this year in football that it's lost a little of the luster with investing in
Totally.
yeah.
I've seen the prices on 2022 products and products that are coming out like certified. I think those are going for what, 300 or less, which, back in the day, that would have been a great price. Back in the day when products like that, when that came out, they were like 70 to 90. But in this new hobby state, where like 2020 certified is about $700 a box, 2021 is about 450. There's just not a lot of hype for 2022. It's basically because I don't think most collectors don't see any quarterbacks that are going to be absolute stars. You know what? I think 2022 class makes me think of the 2013 class, the class with Gino and EJ Manuel and Tyler Wilson. That's what I think of when I think of 2022.
Yeah.
So as a person that
comparison.
buys wax and holds it for a while, I haven't thought once about buying the 2022 product. I mean, if it dips lower, maybe I'll pick up some, but I don't really see any long-term gains in 2022. Watch in 5 years, it'll be like tripled. I'm just saying that now. I don't see the upside in 2022 wax right now.
Yeah.
There are some good players. There's decent players, but for wax to, go up a lot, you got to have star quarterbacks that people think are going to be stars. 2018, you got Josh Allen. 2017, you got Pat Mahomes. 2018, you got Lamar Jackson too. So just that you just don't have any. You don't have anything unless you think Willis and Pickett are going to be stars. But I don't see it.
Yeah, I definitely don't see it. Malik Willis. My goodness, that dude looks like he doesn't belong in the NFL field.
Yeah, he's rough.
Yeah, she's rough. It's crazy to think that the Black Friday sales we see this year might actually include current year product. Like you're going to see 2022 football on Black Friday giveaways.
Yeah, it's kind of an ode to the past, how things were back in the day. The 2020 to 2022, things went crazy. Everybody saw the prices. They hit all-time highs, and now a lot of cards we were talking about this before we did the podcast.
Yeah.
A lot of cards have fallen anywhere from 50% to even like 85, or I think some are like 90% drops. So it's just it's a different state in the hobby, and it's made it tougher to grade, tougher to sell, and better for collectors. That's kind of how I see it right now.
That's an amazing segue. So yeah, we were talking about this before we went live. Last time we spoke, January, we were kind of tailing off the peak. I feel like very close to the peak. We were starting to see things change a little bit. How are people that started in the hobby in 2020? How are they even still around? Is it possible for them to be around if they got in at some of those prices? I mean,
so
like
okay, so yeah,
crazy.
2020. So the pandemic, I think they started March 2020, and that's when they were sending out checks. I don't know how often they were doing it, but $1,200 here and there. People were stuck at home. Sports were off, right? So they had an extra $1,200 to buy a box or buy some singles. And I'm sure a lot of people, I mean, obviously a lot of people came into the hobby. I'm sure that there were some people coming into the hobby that were just in it to pump and dump, right?
Yeah.
There had to be pump and dumpers to get the prices up that high. I think Jordan's rookie was 750,000, right? Didn't it sell that high? I mean,
yeah.
I look at prices and I check the highs for the last year or two, and I see what some cards were selling for, and I'm like, I don't remember that, and I should have unloaded everything. Jeez, I mean, I can't believe, but it's impossible. You know, the thing about the hobby is there's no way to see the future, so you can't get down on yourself that much, because if I think we talked about this last time, if you could see the future, it wouldn't be any fun, because you would know when to buy and sell.
Yeah.
The fun of it is not knowing.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I wouldn't want to know the future either. It would strip all the fun away. So, I mean, are you seeing, you're pretty well connected. You see your comments, you've done reveal videos, and you've been in the hobby a long time. I mean, what's kind of the vibe that you feel? What's the shift that's taken place? Are the pumpers and dumpers out? Are the investors out? Are we back to where we were 3 years ago?
I think we're still higher than 2019. You know, I think the market's still higher than then, but obviously it's way lower than 2020 to probably the end of 2021 is kind of when stuff started going down. I think early 2022 you started seeing the market drop off some. But I think the hobby's in a better state than the end of 2019.
Okay.
You know, I think a lot of cards are still higher now than the end of 2019. That's all I'm saying with that. But I would say a lot of those guys dropped off. I mean, they when you buy it to highs and you get out and lose your ass, then you're probably going to find something else to do. And
yeah, exactly. It's reality. I mean, so why do you say then we're in a better spot than 2019? Do you think it's just because we do have more faces, we do have more exposure in the hobby now, like people are aware of it more than they were?
Yeah, you know, there's the amount of channels that have sprung up on YouTube.
Yeah.
2019. I mean, if you did a comparison, I'm sure it's
crazy. Gotta be mind-blowing.
Yeah, back in 2010 when I started my channel, honestly, there was maybe 10 channels that I could find that were doing cards. I talked about this last time. It was just weird to set up a camera and film yourself.
Yeah.
Looking at cards or showing. When I was doing it, I said, this is weird, but I'm going to just post it and see what happens. And I got like 10 or 20 views.
Yeah.
And there just weren't a lot of channels. And I just started showing a PSA reveal. And some people liked it. So, but now you have everybody doing it. You have everybody doing their Beckett. Well, I don't really see any Beckett. Shouldn't have said that, but there's a lot, there's a lot of PSA, and SBC definitely gotten stronger. CSG, I don't know if they're still open. I'm just making a joke. They have a weak market, don't they?
You know, it's getting better, honestly. I mean, I'm not a CSG guy at all. I'm not a CSG guy, but it is getting better.
They're like the guys that come to the party at 1:30 when everybody's already drank and had fun. I think they're just too late. Like I think they're part of the pandemic rush. You know, they were all the collectors, and they're the grading company that wanted to cash in. And I don't know how they're doing. They're probably doing pretty well, but I just never saw them as a long-term viable company, because I like companies that have been around for a while. I like companies that have shown that they've been in business, they're established, they've graded top-notch cards. PSA's done it. How well? We can talk about that later. SVCs, they've had their own problems, but they've come around and become pretty strong in terms of honesty and
Yeah.
being consistent. And that's, as a collector, that's what I love. As an investor, some people, you go to PSA because their cards sell for 30-40% more
Yeah.
in certain circumstances.
Yeah. No, those are good points. If CSG didn't have that relationship with eBay, I don't even think we would even know the acronym. Honestly.
No, I don't. And
I
I think
wouldn't.
I thought about them one time, and I was just like, I mean, they have a decent looking slab. They
Yeah.
fixed their label. It looks better. They've got the hologram on the back. It looks pretty good, but
It does.
I just don't see them as a viable company for me. There's people that might use them and do well with them, but for me, I don't see a point in using them.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you say about, I was just at the Toronto Expo, Sports Card Expo, and Tag is big up there. Tag, because of Jeremy Lee and Sports Card Live and that whole world. And their whole mantra is AI grading. Like, they take the people out of it. And you could probably speak to this with the most conviction, being that you grade so many cards through PSA and SGC. Is AI where we need to be with grading? Do you believe that, or should it remain in the hands of a person?
AI, that's a pretty loaded question.
Yeah.
AI grading would be fantastic if they could figure out a way for it to work consistently. But the thing about that is, so many different sets have so many different textures, thickness, edge problems, and there's nuances in these sets that I don't think a computer is ever going to be able to pick up certain things. I think there's something about the naked eye that can pick up some things that the computer can't. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I just feel like I've seen so many different sets in my career that it would be hard for a computer to accurately do the job. And that's my, that's how I feel about that. But if you could get that system down and it could be consistent, accurate, great, there's the card you send in is going to always get the grade that it should get. There should be any crap going on. Cards that are 10s should be 10s. You shouldn't get 9s. Vice versa. Cards that are 9s should be 10s. And that's something we can talk about too, because that's crazy.
Yeah.
Part of the hobby.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like guys like you and even me to some extent, I mean, you have a great eye. You know exactly what a card should grade. And when you send it in, you expect that grade. So if they could get AI grading to the point where your eye can be rewarded, I think that's an amazing thing. But, I was at a booth, multiple booths, and they had tag cards lined up, for sale. And the slabs themselves look really great. But it was like 7.5s, 8.5s, 6.5s. Because like the computer thinks everything's wrong. And it's like, why would
that's the problem. There's a company that was doing that too, right? Or saying they were doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah. HGA, right?
HGA. Are they still around?
Right. Exactly. I mean, I think they are technically.
I mean, technically they are, I think, but they were saying they were doing that, and I don't know if they were, but yeah, the computers, there's a, companies have had an established system, this is a 9, this is a 10, and you've seen the cards in the slabs. If you've done it long enough, you should know what a 10 should look like, what a 9 should look like. I don't know if the computer has that in their brain. Well, they don't have a brain, but I don't think they have that stored. They don't know like what a Griffey 89 glossy 10 should look like. I don't know if they truly know the top to bottom, the side to side. That's the problem with the AI grading.
Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. And then many times in your videos, you're pulling up stuff that you've graded many times, like all your Calvin Johnsons. You talk about the chipping on this card. I know I'm going to get an 8.5. Where I don't care how good a grading company is. I don't want to tag 7.5. I'd rather go get a PSA 9 and it might be graded wrong. I don't want to tag 7.5, although it's accurate. Like that, you can keep it. I'll stick with my
right. At some point, you don't even want that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any value really.
Yeah. Do you think PSA just finally figures out AI grading and slowly incorporates it? That's how we get integration of AI into the hobby? You think that's the only way that works?
Well, they've got the capital and the
Yeah.
the resources to where they would be the company, I think, that would try to push it forward.
Yeah.
But actual true AI grading where the computer is making all the decisions, I don't know if that will ever happen in the hobby.
Yeah.
I think there will always be a guy that, you think of sitting there with his glasses pissed off because something happened in his life and he's giving you crappy grades, and you're like, what the heck's wrong with this guy?
They just need to hire Allen Iverson at PSA and be like, we finally have AI grading.
Right,
like,
right.
Don't even say anything else.
Just, I was thinking of some guy like sitting in the office, his wife just left him, he's pissed off, he's going through your cards, throwing 8s and 7s on them. Corners are getting dinged. But I've been doing this so long.
Yeah.
And sent so many orders in that I've just seen it all, really. 2010 is when I sent my first order off. And since then, I've been doing it nonstop. And it hasn't been 10 cards. It's been 200, 500, 500 again. And I don't really do 500 anymore because it's not viable. That's something we can talk about too. With grading costs and the market, the current market state for the cards I like to grade at that low $7 price point. It doesn't make any sense to grade those anymore because you're going to pay $15-$17 a card. Even if you get a 10, the card might be $25. If you get a 9, it's worth $7-8. I don't really see the point in doing that anymore. During the pandemic, $7-8. Cards at 9, it's $20. Cards at 10, it's $70. And that was happening all the time with like junk wax, but can't do that anymore. I mean, there's still some value in the junk wax sets. Some 10s sell for $40-$50, but it's just not viable. It was fun, but it's not worth the time or effort anymore because it's just fees are higher and the market's lower. That's not a winning combination when you're sending it in bulk.
Yeah. Well, so how are you kind of balancing that out now that you've seen the market adjust and where we're at now?
So I don't open any of the junk wax anymore. Really, I might open up a box set. I got to have my 89 Topps traded baseball sets. Got to get that fix in to pull the Griffey and send it off and get my 9. But I when I'm buying cards now, I'm buying cards that are more higher value. Cards that are, I'm not buying cards that were like $1 or $2 and send them in hoping for 10s to maybe be a $60 card because can't really do that anymore. So I mean, all the cards I buy raw are at least like $20 now. Back before I was just I would buy anything, bargain, $5 card, $2 card. Now it's $20 card, $500 card, $100 card, $250 card, $1,000 card. It's just higher. The market's dropped and grading's higher, so I've been going after cards that are more expensive, more valuable to try to create value for my submissions. But I think it's gotten really hard the last 6 months, truthfully,
to find good deals on cards and add value through grading. That's what's become difficult.
I think value through grading is lower than it's been in a long time, honestly.
Really?
Sending cards in and if you send a PSA, you might get, you don't know if you're going to get accurate grades, and then you're going to get upcharged on certain cards. So that's another aspect. A lot of orders are getting slammed with extra fees, and it's expensive. I think to grade a card with a declared value under 1,000 with PSA, that's economy, right? I think it's $45 a card or 50.
It's 50 a card.
Okay, it's 50 a card. So I mean, back, I don't know, 3 years ago, that service was about $14-15. So it's tripled. And the market's about the same on a lot of those cards. So you can kind of do the math there. Yeah. And if you're getting 8s, then you're in the current market, if you're getting 8s on cards like that, you're probably a small loser now. No, I'm serious. It's the 8s.
It came out funny. You're a small loser. I like that.
But yeah, you're not. Well, you're break even, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's how things have changed.
So I mean, being that I guess I have so many questions here on that because you have such a good eye where 10 years ago it was easy because you could find stuff and you knew like it was going to grade well and the cost to grade was cheap. Now grading has become normal in the hobby. So for you to pick out cards has become harder. They're cherry picked because everyone grades stuff now. Are you looking for stuff that's not graded, or are you looking for stuff that you can crack out of cases to submit? Kind of where are you finding value?
Yeah, actually, I got an order back from PSA like last month. It was graded so wrong that I snapped like 30 cards out and my hand was sore the next day. I had a snapper's elbow. But honestly, yeah, I'll because there's so much inconsistency in grading that I'll definitely buy a card, like fake Beckett 9.5s and just kind of take a look at it. You can't see every aspect when the card's in the holder. That's why a crossover is valid, because you can't tilt the surface and see any surface imperfections. You just can't with that plastic over it.
Yeah.
But you can get a great feel for the type of condition and what the card's going to grade with PSA or SGC, and just kind of take your shots there. I know there's people that snap out BGS 9.5 fakes and trues and send them to PSA and hope for PSA 10s, and it works often.
Yeah.
Is it viable long term? Maybe, probably. If you do it enough, you're going to get some random 7s and 8s though.
Right.
I can guarantee that.
Yeah. How are you in terms of the way cards are being graded? I mean, your last few videos, your comments are hilarious to me because you've gotten screwed on some. Obviously, gotten screwed. Are you noticing a pattern with the way cards are graded? Like the inconsistencies, is that a thing now? Or are you getting less 10s? I don't know if you run the metrics and all that stuff, but
no, I don't never run the metrics because I grade so much. I don't feel like looking into that. And
yeah,
when you have different graders grading every order, I don't think it really means much.
That's true.
If you have the same grader grading your cards every time, you can kind of get a better feel for them as a grader. But if PSA is throwing in a guy that's brand new on the floor and doesn't know junk wax, and you're going to get inconsistent grades. And I think part of it is back when I started grading, it was more of just for fun, and the hobby was a good business, but it wasn't crazy like like how things became. Yeah. And I don't think PSA was as strict with some of their grades. And I also think on certain cards they will grade them tougher, like the 1980 Ricky Henderson rookie has a gem rate of, I don't know, it's like 0.00 something %, and every other card in the set's way easier to get a 10. So I think certain cards are harder to get 10s. Like big cards are hard to get 10s. Like they're going to find any flaw to take it down to a 9.
Yeah. It's funny you say, because I opened a 1986 traded Tiffany sealed set a few weeks back, and I mean they were beautiful when they came out, and I recorded all this thinking, okay, man, these are going to be like 9s and 10s, 7s.
7s, wow.
7s. Yeah, I got 1 8 out of the set, but it's just like, man, I don't know what you can do. I don't know how you can do this any better.
Where do you send them to?
Where?
PSA. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna be tough to get a 10 on that Bonds. Even if the card's perfect, it's gonna get a 9 probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's fun. Like to me, like breaking up an 86 Tiffany set and just coming across a card that's a gem card. I think when you come across a card that's a gem card and you put the work in and spent the money, you should just get a 10. There shouldn't be anything about it. And that's the most frustrating thing about the hobby to me. Putting in the work, you're grinding, and you're just not getting the payoff for whatever reason.
Yeah, I agree.
Then you go online and you buy a 10 of a Tiffany Bonds, and it's off-centered with a white corner on the back. That's very frustrating. When I have a list. I think I told you last time. I have a list of hundreds of cards that I've sold that to me they might have been graded a 9. I thought they were an 8. If cards at 10, it's an 8.5, and I just sell it. I note it so I don't ever buy it again. It's called the flawed card list, and it's just a list for me. If I'm buying cards for my PC, I don't want a card that's in a 10 holder that's like an 8. I don't see how that's good for a collector. If you're an investor, you don't care because you just want the label.
How much would it cost to get a copy of that flawed card list?
Oh, I don't know. I might run some copies, run them on eBay. I don't know if anybody wants
There you
that.
go. Let's start a bidding war in the comments. Let us know if you want to bid on Nolan's
Copy of the
flawed
flop
card
card
list.
list.
I'd be a high bidder for sure. So how do you then decide on sending stuff to SGC? And I'm a big SGC advocate because I feel like they grade accurately. Their
Right.
customer service is
So,
crazy.
okay, cards like you were just talking about the
Yep.
86 Tiffany. Those would be cards I'd probably send to SGC because I feel like I'm gonna get an honest grade, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So cards like that, or cards like if there's certain sets that I'll be more prone to send to SGC because I feel like I'm gonna get a fair look at them. Yeah, older cards, 80s cards, classic rookies, Tiffany cards like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, here, I'll actually show one since I have it on hand.
Oh boy.
Cards like this. This
Beautiful.
is the glossy rookie, and it's the card that I had it looked over. I saw every aspect of it, the top to bottom, the right to left. It doesn't have that print line across the front, right? And the back has hardly any white. You're always going to have a little bit of white on glossy because on Fleer 89, the way it's cut. But this is a great example. This is a 10 card, and I sent it to SGC and got a 10. And that, to me, that's awesome. If I snap that and send it to PSA, it would come back a 9, I'm pretty sure. And that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not the way it should be. Like, this card's a 10. It's in 10 condition, so 10 grade, please.
Yeah. Yeah, that exactly. I'm with you. So how is, and I want to see some more of your cards. I got some cards out here too. We're going to show. How is your mindset shifted from PSA to SGC, for instance? Are you, probably don't have percentages in front of you. Have you started to shift more of your stuff to SGC because of that, even though values might be a little off non-vintage?
No, I mean, I've been sending about 100 cards at a time to SGC.
Okay.
And then PSA, I just sent off 150 last week, and I'm prepping another one for PSA with the $15 thing.
Yeah,
I think it's decent value at current market conditions. SGC, I mean, it's probably split right now. Of course, like the higher end cards, I'm going to let PSA take a look at them first, but I don't have to. If I don't like the grade, I don't think it's fair. I'll just snap it out and send it to Boca. I always say that in my videos. Snap and send it down to Boca to get it. I always call it a second opinion. Like a grade that PSA puts on it is that the actual final grade. My opinion is that the actual final grade. SGC, they're all just opinions based on experience with certain sets and mood too.
Yeah.
I think a grader in a bad mood. I mean, it's got to be true. If you were doing that all day and something happened, like your car broke down or something, and you're looking at the same pile of Tops Update Sotos, you probably start to get frustrated.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, I'm a pretty honest guy, and I know I would do that. I know I'd have a bad day and be like, screw it.
I don't want to look at another US 300 Soto.
We're 30,000 deep in this. I can't look at another one.
That card's worth like $50.
Is it even 50? I mean, I know it's dropped so much.
50 and a 10. It used to be 50 raw.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Peaked around 400, so it's down 80%, right?
Yeah, that's insane. By the way, for folks that don't know, when you said snap and send to Boca, that's Boca Raton, right? It's Florida. It's SGC's headquarters. That's hilarious. I'm going to use that if you let me. Snap and send to Boca. It's got a good ring to it.
Yeah, I talked to Pete too, and we're going to do a podcast soon. So
are you?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. You were the perfect guy to be with him. Cool. Yeah, it's funny. We on the Chasing Cardboard stuff, we'll submit some of the vintage to SGC. I'd say 80% of our stuff, maybe 90% of our stuff to SGC, and people are always like, "Why would you do that? You're not maximizing your value." And I'm like, have you ever actually run the number on vintage? It's actually, it's neck and neck.
Neck and neck. And if you're getting accurate grades on cards, if you're getting a 7 from SGC and a 5 from PSA, you're doing so much better with SGC. If you're confident in your condition, and I mean, there's people always say that, like, you're not maximizing your value, send to PSA. And I get part of that argument, but if you're sending to SGC and you're getting your cards back in a week, and you're waiting 5 months at PSA, you're
There you
doing
go.
so much more volume that
Yep.
I think both companies can be viable.
Yeah.
I think when you get too stuck on one, I think that's when you get in trouble, because it's nice to have a different set of eyes on a card for certain sets and stuff. And I think
Yeah.
for me, PSA, SGC are the companies that I'm going to use, and I've had good experiences with them for the most part. But I don't feel like adding a third company into the mix.
Yeah, I hear you. You and I think very much the same way in that regard. Let's show a few cards before we start talking about some buying and selling strategies. What did you pull out that you wanted to rub in my
I want to
face?
show these. These were the
Oh man,
collections. So
it's
these
a
were,
legacy collection, right?
yeah, that's the row 3,
Okay.
and it's got glare, but this is the row 1 grace.
Oh man.
So these were both PSA 8s, and I just didn't understand it, because I thought they were 9s, because I didn't see they had like minor surface scratches, but weren't bad at all, and the corners and edges were sharp. So I thought they were 9s all day long, and they came back 8s. So I just wanted a second opinion on those ones. Oh, this is the cool one. This is the Moss Atomic.
Oh man.
98 Bowman's Best. First time I've ever shown a Moss card, huh?
No, yeah, right, exactly. What's those aren't numbered, right? But
This out of 100. Some
that's out of 100. Okay.
His tops forgot to number some. Let me show a few more. So this,
Yeah.
people are probably down on this. I've got a lot of this one, but this is the Ultimate Collection Rogers. That's I used to buy these all up back in like 2012. I want to say that they were about $200-$300. There's the Pujols, the SPX.
Oh man, that looks good.
Should have sold this about a month and a half ago.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Truth be told, I missed the boat again. This is in the store now. That's the gold refractor Justin Verlander.
Oh dang, is that a 9 or an 8? I can't. Oh, it's 9.
It's nice. Just a 9. It's trash. You know how some people are in the hobby. If it's not a 10, they don't want it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
This is great. His stuff's down like 70%, but you know, I've collected Breeze for a while. This is the platinum at 25. These don't come up very often.
Yeah. Did you grade that one, or did you buy that graded? You graded it,
right? I sent this in.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. You want to show some?
Yeah, I'm going to show you some that I just got. These are recent basketball. Maybe not your jam here, but I got these while I was at the show.
No, I don't know a lot about.
Oh, I got to. Hold on. Let me turn this crap.
It's tough to get the glare off the card.
I got to do the virtual background thing. I turn that off. There you go. Okay, so I'm a big Nuggets guy. Nikola Jokic rookie, PSA 10, cool. Copper Prism.
Yeah.
So when I go to shows, these are numbered to 49, and I actually bought the 10 and the 9 from a guy. I rarely see Jokic stuff.
Gotta ask, does the 10 look nicer than the 9?
I couldn't tell the difference outside of the auto.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you have the auto kind of coming off the side there, that to me is worth a ding. So maybe that's what it was. Is that to you ding at a point?
No, auto shouldn't play any role in condition.
Really,
even in card condition, you know, if that was the auto was graded, that might get like an 8 or 9, right?
Yeah.
The auto grade, but yeah, it doesn't look as nice. But I don't like when the auto's graded, because I've talked about this. If you can see if an auto's faded or if it's smudged a little bit, and you can just pay a little less for it. But for the most part, I don't love the auto grade. I don't like how SGC puts it on there real big. I always talk about that.
Yeah,
but I think it looks better on PSA slab. It's smaller.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's my opinion.
There's a Michael Porter, Nikola Jokic dual immaculate auto.
Cool.
Here's my third one of one. Michael, this is a guy at PC, Michael Porter Jr. Here's his Spectra 101 rookie.
Nice. Tag. What's that worth?
7,000-8,000.
Oh wow, it's a lot higher than I thought.
Yeah. He's
basketball still has a pretty good market, huh?
You know, yeah, it's the one that's been hit the hardest for sure.
It hit hard during the pandemic. It went up a lot, didn't it?
It did.
Those 2018 Prism hobby boxes. I can't believe what I was selling those for.
Oh man, yeah. I think you and I were talking about that. We killed it on Update. You killed it on Prism as well.
Yeah, those were like we talked about last time. They were like $45 during Black Friday, right?
Yeah.
They were trying to get rid of that 2018 update baseball, and that went up to like $900, right? I don't. It's probably 500 now, but that's still a lot for that product.
It really is.
When you
Yeah.
consider a Soto base and a 10's $50, like we talked about, I don't really see the value in paying $500 for that box anymore.
No doubt. No doubt. Talk to me then
That's a whole
about,
other topic, though.
yeah, it is. Talk to me about where you do see value. I mean, when you mentioned to me offline, like you've been buying a lot. This is an opportunity to buy. What are you focusing on when it comes to buying?
For me, it's always, if you watch my channel, I'm always buying the same players. I like
Yeah.
to stick with the classics and the sets that I know, right? So, I'm buying the Moss Future watches. If I don't post that in a video, people get mad. So I think somebody said one time, "Have you owned every single one?" I was like, "No, probably like 500 of them," or something crazy like that. But yeah, like we talked about before, I'm seeing value in cards that are graded by other companies like BGS 9.5s or BGS 9s that are in auction. A lot of times the auctions go a lot lower than they should. And we've talked about that, like, oh my God, I can't believe what some of my auctions are going for. If I got to ship this out, this guy's getting a steal. But that's kind of how I look at it. Oh, well, maybe it's a collector getting a steal or buying it for his kid, which is probably not the case very often. But yeah, seeing value in that. Auctions. If you're not getting showed, so be careful of that. Like Probstein or whatever, you can have some problems with that. But yeah, I would say auctions, classic cards auctions, simple.
Okay. Yeah. You know what works and you're sticking to what you know really well. Are you finding opportunities in buying local collections or buying lots of cards on eBay? Like you've done that in the past. I know. Like,
that's funny because a couple people reached out to me this week with collections they want me to look at and buy. And that's something that I haven't done a lot, but that's something I think I'm going to venture into. Because I haven't, there's baseball card collector, investor, dealer. What is that the name?
Mm-hmm.
He's bought so many collections and he's done so well at that. That's something I probably need to do more of. And I'm going to start doing that in the future.
Okay. Well, we're going to need to get in Kansas City. I need to get back home and we need to go on a little chasing cardboard adventure together. Go buy a collection.
That'd be fun. You could stop by and we could, I don't know, take a look at some of the cards in the vault.
Oh, are you a vault guy? Like, are you like not your own vault? Or are you like an eBay vault guy?
No, I don't like that. I think you already knew the answer to that. I wasn't going to like that because I don't think like everybody else on some things. Yeah. I want to store my own cards. I don't need people need people grading for me. Don't need people storing my cards. I'll do it myself. It's not that hard. I told you I've got all my best cards at the bank vault, and you said I was like a what
90-year-old
geezer or something. And then I've got a vault in my house too. So
I see the size of your arms. You don't need the bank protecting your cards. You're going to be just fine.
Yeah, you never know though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What about selling though? I mean, you and I, we sell a ton, and a lot of people that watch Bench Clear come to get selling advice and strategies. You mentioned auctions, like we're defaulting to auctions more just to make sure we move stuff. What else are you learning with selling? Are you any other strategies or platforms you're using? What can you tell us there?
Okay, so something I've done in the last week is there's an option on eBay on the app. I don't know if you can do it on the actual website if you're on a computer. But if you go to your My eBay selling page, there's an option that says send offer to buyers, right? And so since all my listings are, the ones that aren't auctions are fixed price with just a price, because I don't use the best offer feature because you can just send offers to buyers. So I don't really see the point of that. So I'll send out, 50 offers a night, maybe 3 of them sell, but it's better than not selling anything. So, you say you have a card at $50 and you have 3 people that have shown interest in it. You can send an offer for 40. You might get a bite, you might not. But it's just a way to get push out offers and hit some. There were probably 5 that I sold this weekend, which I probably sent out 50 or 60, but it's still better than nothing. It's tough to sell stuff fixed price right now. Honestly, I can go to the market and go right in the middle of what they've sold for and put my price right there, and it just doesn't get hit. And then the market drops further, and that's the problem when you do the fixed price, right? Because the market drops under what your price was. If you're not on top of it, checking your prices, your cards dropped already, 20%, and then you're just like, then that's the benefit of auctions, right? Because you auction it, it goes at, might go a little lower, but it goes at the market price close at that time. You don't have to deal with that. So that, there's pros and cons to both ways, and I've seen the rub of both ways.
Yeah.
In the past year, but
yeah. Are you seeing the last couple of weeks been good for you? Are you starting to see it pick up a little bit heading into the holiday?
Right. That's what we talked about before we started to record. Box sales were great the last week, for 6 weeks or so. The boxes I was selling were Topps Heritage and Topps 2021 Series 1 Hobby for $50 or $60. Like, I wasn't selling nothing over $250. But the last week it's been better. And I don't know if I feel like around Christmas it gets worse usually, right? And then it picks up in January, because that's kind of what I expected. But it might just be a good week. I don't know, that the hobby could be coming back somewhat.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. People think, oh my gosh, it's holidays, you're going to sell a lot more. It's like, it's actually the reverse is true with sports cards. You see less sales in my experience. Yeah.
There's people buying presents for their family, not a hobby box that they're going to blow $500 on.
Right.
Because that's what's going to happen when you break a box for $500. You're going to blow $500. You're going to blow about $425 actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to have an angry wife. No doubt. Yeah. That's why, like, if you have hanger boxes in your store, you're going to sell a lot of those because they fit in stockings and they're $20.
Right. That's a great gift.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. So in your My eBay selling tab on a, not mobile, but on the actual website, there's a send offers to eligible listings, I think is what it says. I've been using that for a couple of years now, whenever it was released a year and a half ago.
Yeah. How have you done with that? Have you made some sales from it?
Yeah. I mean, I see that. I don't know how much you discount, but I normally I throw out there, hey, I'll give it to you for 20% off. That's what I would have accepted anyway. Here's a 20% coupon. Go buy this.
Right. It just depends on the card. Some of my stuff's way overpriced because I just don't keep up on it enough, and the market drops so much. So I'm just like, I'll just leave it there. And and what happens a lot with my listings is, like, the prices I have doesn't mean I have to have that to sell it. Right. It's just like, that's the price I have in there. Feel free to send me an email and maybe we can work something out. But a lot of times people will reach out and come with a price, and I'll say, or I'll say, I'll add like $50 onto it, and then we'll come up with a deal. Then I can send that offer to buyer. There's that option.
Yeah.
So that's great.
It is a great feature. People don't use it enough. I know. I
think that's what, 2 or 3 years they've had that.
Yeah.
That's a great option.
It really is. It hasn't worked as well for me the last 6 months because I've been defaulting to auctions. I'd rather, like you said, just move it at the market price and be done with it.
Yeah, you're sitting on these cards that you want to get rid of, and you're hoping to get. I think you're sitting in fixed price. Maybe you'll get 10 or 15% more when you probably should have just ran it in an auction. Yeah, the only problem with running an auction versus fixed price to me is you can't screen your buyers. Right, and you get the guys with 5 feedback that don't pay. Yep. Yeah, I've seen that. Their toddler logged in, placed the bid. No, their toddler logged in and sniped it. The toddler, exactly. Toddler, right? That toddler's doing work. But no, I've seen it all. Hospital emergency, car problems, girlfriend left. I've canceled so many items and it's always people with. Typically, it's less than 50 feedback. Most of the time, it's less than 20. Yeah, where you see that, and it's just people that get kicked off, and they get a new account, get kicked off. I don't know. I don't understand the point of just buying stuff and never paying and getting kicked off. It's like a weird fetish for people. I know. I don't get it either. I mean, you're not helping your comps that much. I can guarantee you. If that's what you're trying to do. So that's the problem with the auction. With the fixed price, you can kind of see if the person's going to pay or not. You kind of know. Like when I sell a card for over $500 and the feedback's less than 10, I'm like, this isn't getting paid for. Yeah, it's a decline. Yeah. Right. Yeah. What kind of seller are you? Like, when someone with less than 10 feedback bids and wins and then tries to cancel on you, do you let them cancel, or do you let it roll into eBay flagging them 4 days later? Oh, I always let it roll. I always wait. Well,
You and me
How
both.
are they going to learn if there's no punishment ever? They'll just keep doing it forever. And I don't even know if there is punishment, but I'd like to think there is. And so, yeah, I'm going to wait because they're like, this happens a lot. They'll say I can't afford the item, I'm not paying for it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, I can cancel. And they're like, okay, cancel. And I'm like, I have to wait like 4 days and then I'll cancel. And that happens a lot.
I love it. It's like,
but honestly, I don't even know. I think people can. I don't know how they even kick people off anymore. Like it used to be, they'd keep track of strikes and stuff, but I don't know how they do it now.
yeah, I don't either. Yeah, I don't want to know. I'm just going to assume they're doing things right and they're punishing people.
Right.
But you and I both know they're probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you going to have your best year ever in sports card sales? You were trending towards that earlier in the year.
No, not definitely. 2021 was my best year.
Okay.
2022. Yeah, you're right. I was on pace through March.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. Things fell off a cliff, and those. It was a tough summer. I think May through July was bad. So no, definitely not. Best year 2021, 2022 maybe second.
Okay, it's not bad.
But it was when stuff was selling for 70% more, the same cards like a Soto. Not to go back to the update again, but it was $250, $300 all day, and now it's $60. So when you continue putting cards like that in auction, you're getting so much less for your cards, and it's just harder to add up the revenue.
Yeah, well, it's not like you can just go 5x the volume, right? You only have one of you. I only have one of me. So
I have to find a clone.
That's right. We're working on it. How much money have you lost in crypto? I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
You know I don't do crypto.
I know.
Oh, okay. Is that why you asked that?
It's just I just want to see your reactions. To me, those are priceless. So tell me the biggest mistake that comes to mind in the hobby. Like, what if you could redo one thing? What would it be right now?
God, this is easy.
Okay.
Sold my LeBron James cards about 1.5 years ago.
You wish you wouldn't have done that.
No, I wish I would have.
Oh, okay. You're still holding them.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely made a big mistake. I thought they were going to keep going up, and now I'm kind of waiting. Maybe for a boom, but they're like 2-10. But he's going to get the all 10 points. I don't know if that would do anything. I don't know. It might take a while for them to bounce back. So I don't think they'll ever get back to where they were.
Yeah,
I would take 20-25% jump to move some more of them.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a big mistake. But again, I couldn't see the future on that one either.
Yeah. That to me seems like a mistake that will eventually fix itself.
Should, Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever get back to where it was, like Kobe cards where they were. I don't think they're ever going to those prices. But I think they will come back some. Because a lot of his stuff's pretty low right now. His PS10 rookies, his tops, his upper deck, the ones that some people can afford, not like the crazy ones, but they're pretty low, compared to where they were, and but they're still higher than the end of 2019, like we were talking about. Yeah,
you're right. I'm a big believer in basketball going forward. I think basketball is the one area where I think it's just going to naturally move higher because it got hit so hard.
Right.
Yeah, especially guys like LeBron who. They didn't do themselves any favors by everything they were saying on social media. It's like, man, you're screwing all of us collectors, man. Come on.
Yeah. Keep the politics out of it. But I think he wants to be a figure in politics. So he's got to do what he's got to do, I guess.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. Give me a couple players that you really like, guys that you think people should be looking at closer, and maybe there's some opportunities there. Not as collecting, investing, whatever, but there's always opportunities now.
This past summer, I got into Bowman Chrome baseball prospecting just for fun. I didn't really buy anything that expensive, but I was just having fun with it. And there's a shortstop. Well, there's 2 shortstops for the Rockies right now that I think both could end up being pretty good players. Tovar, Ezekiel Tovar, and Adel Amador. Tovar actually played about 10 games, I think, this September, and Amador, I think he topped out in Double-A. But he had like a 300 on base, 410, or 300 average, 410 on base in Double-A as a 20-year-old. So that's, I had a lot of fun just looking at prospects, and that's a venture that you can really get kicked hard in. But I wasn't really going crazy on any card. I was just having fun buying like base autos and a couple of golds here and there. But those are a couple of young players that I like in baseball, and they'll probably both end up being $5 autos. Right now, they look like they're going to be pretty good. But in baseball, if you get called up and you don't go crazy, then your stuff just goes way down, and you move to the next 18-year-old, and then hope he's Trout, which you won't be. But it is pretty fun looking at the prospects in baseball. I don't know why.
Yeah, to me, that's stepping back before everything inflated and going back to the way the hobby used to be. Like, I loved prospecting 3 or 4 years ago. I felt like it was viable, and then it became not viable anymore because everybody was like $60 a card.
And now you think it's better now? Yeah. Yeah. You can get a decent prospect for $15 now.
Yeah, that is fun. I enjoy that as well. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how guys like Mike Trout, maybe Ronald Acuna, Juan Soto, those guys that have fallen off a lot, how they can project their cards better in pricing the next few years.
Yeah, I think Soto's definitely going to bounce back. And
yeah,
I think he's going to have a better season in 2023, and his cards will come back. I don't know how far, but I definitely see his coming back. Trout, I mean, obviously he's one of the greatest players ever, but I don't know how much it matters that they can't they don't do anything in the playoffs ever.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever even been on a team that won a playoff series.
Nope. Right? Never. Yeah. Right.
And I don't know. I feel like that's might be important going forward, because when you look at all these classic players, Jordan, Brady, Jordan 6, Brady 7, Trout 0. I think it might matter in the long run. Great player individually, just never on a team that was that good.
Yeah, it's like
people have to decide how important that is in the hobby, and I don't think you can value Trout's cards on the same level as like Jordan and Brady when he's got 0 rings, but collectors might see it differently.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. I think it's going to come back to haunt him, and that'll probably always cap his prices. I mean, they took a hit hard. They got kicked hard.
Yeah. How much are they down? 50?
Yeah, I think from peak easily 50, but even beginning of season, probably down 40 to 50.
Well, I got to ask, what do you feel about Tatis right now?
I think he's a buy. Yeah. If I can find good deals on Tatis, I'm buying him.
Yeah, I think what happened with him is going to haunt his hobby for his whole career.
You think so?
Definitely. And I think stuff down 50% since he got caught with it, right? It's about 50%. If he comes out and doesn't play well, his stuff is going to go down so much.
Well, that's true.
Because people are going to be waiting. They're going to want Tatis to be as good or better to offset the steroids, right? If he comes out, he's like pretty good. It won't help it's going to hurt his hobby a lot.
That's fair.
People,
go ahead.
Look at Bonds, greatest hitter of all time. Cards aren't the most, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Bonds. I know Bonds is the guy that was obvious. His head got huge from the steroids, and he was well, I'm serious. And then like guys like Tatis, like he looks kind of muscular, but is he telling the truth? Maybe. But a lot of people will say, no, he's a liar and cheater, and they won't think twice about it. Some people will give him the benefit of the doubt, but that's half the collectors probably. They're going to drop off. So you have to think about that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I tend to think that collectors and then sports card investors have very short memories with that type of stuff. So hopefully it'll fix itself. But yeah, you're right. You strip away 20-30% of the people that were interested in him. And that's a big
guys will not collect a player that's tied to steroids. There's definitely purists like that will not collect people that don't want Canseco rookies. I like the 86 Don Russ personally.
Yeah. That's an interesting take. I didn't even think about that affecting it long term. Do you think that's why Astros players will never ever see value they should? I mean, Altuve should be priced astronomically high, and he's nothing.
That's probably it. You know, there's a large a segment of people that will always view them as cheaters and will not buy their cards.
Yeah.
That cuts out, I don't know, 20 or 30% again of people that would buy those cards, and hence they sell lower.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, cool, man. What's your holy grail? What's your grail card that you don't have yet that you want to have? I think I might have asked you this, but I don't remember what you said.
Probably said it last time. Mano 52, right?
Okay.
And I would want like a 3 that was centered.
Okay.
Probably. Well, that was centered decent, not like dead center. Yeah. It's not gonna happen. You know, I want the Trout Bowman Chrome Gold.
Oh,
we're just talking about Trout's values cap, but I've always wanted that card. I don't know why, and I haven't been able to get that one. Griffey doesn't have any really crazy ones that I would need. Oh, Platinum Medallion Griffey. I know it's not the most valuable card, but those are so hard to get. I don't have any Platinum Medallion Griffies.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to look on eBay if there's even any available.
No,
probably not.
There's not. What about you?
Well, funny enough, I mentioned this. I didn't see the video, but we were out in Toronto, and the '94 Upper Deck Mantle Griffey dual auto awesome. To me is one of the coolest cards ever.
Yeah, that card's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I actually like the Steph Curry Chrome Refractor. I love Curry stuff.
What is that, like 20,009? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's high. Yeah, it's
more.
And then 9, I don't know off the top of my head. I'd say 15 to 20. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. Yeah, that the basketball stuff, like the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah, that's the stuff that I love in baseball and football. Football, I don't know why I buy so many football cards. I just know those sets so well. I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
I always try to buy more basketball and hockey, and then I end up like searching random running backs from the 2000s. I'm like, what am I buying more Steven Jacksons? He was a good player, though. People
he was a good player.
In the comment section. Good player, probably Hall of Famer, right?
You think Steven Jackson's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah. Look at backs now. They're not going to produce. You got like 3 backs right now I'd say have a chance to be Hall of Famers. Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, maybe Jonathan Taylor. But I mean, backs just not around. They don't put up the stats anymore. I think Jackson had 7 straight 1,000-yard seasons, probably totaled 90 touchdowns, 14,000 total yards. I mean, tell me some players now that are going to do that.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why I say that. You know, it's a pass-happy league. Although there are some backs putting up some stats this year, but it's just going to be hard to compile numbers like that. And we need to talk about Frank Gore getting into, because that makes people mad. And I'm like, third all time in rushing at one of the toughest positions. How's he not a Hall of Famer?
Yeah,
it's hard to go out there every year after year in your 30s and put up 800 yards, 1,000 yards. How's he not a Hall of Famer? That's consistency.
Yeah. You've had some big Frank Gore cards come across your wire over the years.
Right. The Spectrum SPX, the 25 and a 10. That's a sweet one.
Yeah. I collected Drew Bledsoe. He was my guy growing up. And a friend of mine here locally just texted me.
He was a good player too. He was a good player.
Yeah, he's actually still very collectible in the hobby. He sent me a picture. He found this in his collection. He's like, "Hey, you got to come out and buy this from me." A 98 Star Rubies.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
those never come up.
Yeah. I'm going to be picking that up in a couple weeks, I think.
How much is that?
He's told me to come up with a price. I don't even know. What would you off the top of your head think a Star Rubies Bledsoe would go for?
What's it out of? 30?
50 out of 50.
200, 300?
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
He was a good player.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. What receiver and what quarterback in football, since I know you know football really well, that's playing right now, are you like, dude, this is a guy you got to put money in? For me, it's Justin Jefferson as a receiver. Every game, I'm like, this dude is so stinking good. He's going to lead the league in receiving for so many years.
Yeah, I think Tyreek Hill's on a Hall of Fame path right now.
Yeah, that's true.
He's on pace for like 2,000 yards this year receiving.
Insane.
And honestly, if he had like after this year, if he had 2 more good seasons, he'd probably get in the Hall of Fame because he was so explosive, or is so explosive. So
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, I mean, you can't argue with Jefferson too. He's really compiling. Diggs for the Bills is really compiling some numbers. I think he's got like close to 9,000 yards receiving, which
Dang.
is not all worthy. And you know, you need to get to like 13 or 14 now and be a standout player.
Yeah. Kelsey, maybe Kelsey.
Oh yeah, he'll be Hall of Fame.
Yeah. No question.
Sure. Quarterback. Some of those 2020 quarterbacks are pretty intriguing. Herbert and Burrow.
Which one of those two would you take right now?
If I had to buy his cards and hold them forever.
Forever. They had to go to your bank vault.
Probably Burrow, because I don't think the Chargers are going to win the Super Bowl ever. I'm just being honest. I can see the Bengals going back and possibly winning it, but I just don't see the Chargers doing it. But I don't know how much that'll matter. I don't. How important is it going to the Super Bowl and winning? I mean, look at Brady. He's got 7 rings and his stuff's down 40%.
Yeah, well, that's
important. Like, does Josh Allen have to win a Super Bowl to keep his hobby, or can he just keep throwing 35 touchdowns, rushing for 5, and being 12-5 or 13-4, like, and dropping in the second round of the playoffs? Like, how important is it? How important is I've always wondered about that. How important is postseason success to long-term hobby values? And it definitely plays a role. But like I always thought Breeze needed that 2nd or 3rd ring to keep his hobby, up there. And now that his hobby's fallen off so much, I think it's just like an out of sight, out of mind type of deal.
Yeah.
Coinciding with the decline in the hobby, those 2 factors just hammering his cards down. Rodgers' stuff is down a lot. He's got what? He's one of the best quarterbacks of all time, right? Top 5.
Right. He's coming off back-to-back MVPs, and we're like nothing.
Having a bad stretch, so nobody wants his cards anymore. It's weird.
Yeah.
People are very wishy-washy. They might want to invest in Taylor Heineke, probably. I'm right. His stuff was probably going crazy last night.
Yeah, you're probably right. Unfortunately, you're probably right.
I've seen it so often with these quarterbacks, these guys that have a couple good games, and people go crazy for them.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to catch the next big thing. But
yeah,
they know they're not catching it.
Yeah, the problem is the next big thing is there's no next big thing right now. Every big thing has kind of just gotten kicked in the old sack, and so it's like, what do? You just keep grinding it, right? We keep grinding it out.
Keep grinding, I guess. That's all I know how to do.
Well, you are one of the best at grinding it out. For folks that have not checked out your channel, Elite Code 3, check it out. I'll put the link in the show notes. Any other final words, man? Any other words of wisdom for those that have hung around an hour with us?
Just go out and have fun in the hobby. It doesn't always have to be about the investing. I think I said this last time. The investing, your bottom line, how much your stuff's selling for. Go out and find cards that you like, cards that you enjoyed as a kid. I have the most fun when I buy sets from like 1987 to 2005. That's when I was, 3 years old to 21. Those are the time when I had the most fun, and I had a lot of fun in the hobby. And in those times of my life, it wasn't about investing, making money. I was just, getting the card in, flipping it around, checking out the stats, learning about the player, watching the game. It was just for fun, But
yeah,
a lot of the fun gets taken away because of one thing, and it's money and greed. And that's what happens in all aspects of life, I think, not just the hobby.
Okay, it just got real deep, real quick.
Yeah, it did.
Well, your phone is buzzing. Hopefully that's eBay bids or buy it or offers or something.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I'm just kidding with you. Are you an 87, 86 baby? When were you born?
84.
You're 84. Okay, so I'm 83. All right, so I'm your elder. That's good to know.
Yeah, by a year, right?
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for jumping on and spending another hour. We need to make sure it's not 10 months that we do this
Yeah, let's try to
again.
get one in three or four.
I love it. You're gonna have tons of comments, and I know people love your stuff. So thanks for what you do in the hobby, man. I appreciate it.
All right, Ty.
All right, brother.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.